Now, right across the southeast, from Sheerness to Folkestone to here in Brighton, there are historic constructions falling into disrepair. But should they really be saved? Emma Thomas reports.
There are many precious buildings in the southeast, from Dover Castle to the De La Warr Pavilion in Bexhill. But what about other constructions where their value isn't so obvious? So, should we be saving them too? Madeira Terrace in Brighton used to be the place to be, but fast forward a few years.
And the terraces are in trouble. It's been deemed unsafe and large parts of it have been shut off to the public. Graffiti has replaced grandeur.
It's thought to be the largest cast iron structure of its kind in Britain, possibly the world.
Well, we're going onto these wonderful Victorian terraces, and as you can see, they're in a dreadful state these days.
It's a slice of the past that local history expert Dr. Geoffrey Mead wants to see restored.
So why was this built?
This was built to enhance Brighton's reputation as the preeminent European seaside resort.
What kind of people would come down here?
Where we're walking now, in the Madeira Terraces, would have been very much the middle classes, the upper middle classes, and some of the gentry.
Madeira Terrace is owned by the council, and Catherine Pearce is responsible for its regeneration.
Is the council to blame for the state of these terraces?
The council has been repairing the structure year on year. I have to say that's probably got a lot more challenging in recent years. We've had almost a 50% cut to budgets.
It will cost around £160,000 per arch to restore Madeira Terrace. That's a total of 24 million. The council wants to fix the terrace. The problem is finding the money to do it. The next place we're going to lies along the coast in Folkestone. Its value is more hidden. The Lees Pavilion was frequented by the royals in Edwardian times. It was the place to hang out.
But now it's laying derelict and has been like this for 10 years. It was bought for £3 million by a developer called Churchgate, which had plans to build a block of flats here. But in 2008, the property market crashed and they decided to hang on to the land until the market recovered. When did you first notice this building?
A long time ago, I don't know, 25 years ago.
But this neglected building has captured the imagination of comedian Vic Reeves because of a family connection.
In the First World War, all the soldiers, before they walked down the Hill of Remembrance and got on the ships to go to France to fight, they came in here for tea, and my granddad was one of them. He was only 16 at the time. Fortunately, he came home, but a lot didn't, and this would have been their last cup of tea in Britain.
The design of the pavilion had to be made in a way that it didn't block its neighbours' light.
So the architect came up with the idea that if we can't build above ground level, we'll build below.
And we wanted to get inside to see what it was like underground, but the developer wouldn't let us. But you've got some photos here.
This was taken in 1905. It's a tinted photograph, but this was it when it was a tea rooms, and then you've got the galleries all above.
Why is it so special for you, this place?
It's just such a beautiful building. They don't build them like that anymore.
It is in fact Grade 2 listed, which means it's historically important. The local council has been criticised for not intervening enough to save it, but they say they are taking action.
We're employing a structural engineer and a listed buildings expert to come up with the schedule of works, which we will then issue to Churchgate for them to do those works. If they don't do those works, we have a contingency fund of £20,000 to go in and do the works ourselves.
The owners, Churchgate, didn't want to be interviewed, but in a statement they told us that they became responsible for the pavilion's repair when they took over the lease in 2016. Since then, they've spent £200,000 on its upkeep.
We fully recognise the significance of this prominent site in Folkestone and the need to preserve the pavilion, and most emphatically deny that we have allowed it to fall into a state of disrepair. No outstanding safeguarding work is required.
What do you think the building could be used for in the future?
Well, I'd like to see it used as what it was originally used for, like a tea dance. I'd go to a tea dance down there, wouldn't you?
I would, in fact.
Would you go with me? We could have a dance, a cup of tea. Ready?
You're going to have to lead. Okay, ready?
Okay.
This is weird. I wasn't
Go.
expecting to do this.
Are you? Can you dance?
I can try.
I don't think we'll be on Strictly Come Dancing, as you.
Maybe like fling yourself back with a bit of a...
I'm doing the ladies' position now, aren't
Maybe a
I?
high kick.
Hang on, round like that, yeah.
Next up, a building in Sheerness in Kent. Nestling in the middle of the dockyard is the Sheerness Boat Store. Built in 1859, it may not be much to look at, but it's a Grade 1 listed building, just the same as Buckingham Palace, and it's at risk. I'm with local historian David Hughes. We're going to try and get to see it.
Gosh, it seemed even more distressed than last time I saw it. You can see the rust really appearing now through the side panels on the walls.
But anyone looking at this building might just think, you know, it's just a rusty old building. Why does it need saving?
Well, because really it was the precursor of all the modern skyscrapers.
It's the earliest surviving example of a multi-storey iron frame and panel structure, which is why it's historically important. Because it's a Grade 1 listed building, the owners of the site, Peel Ports, are responsible for its upkeep. But the reason we're peeping through a fence is that they wouldn't give us permission to film inside. So we decided the next best thing was to look at some photos of the boat store outside the site. Let's hope we aren't interrupted by any loud noises.
Now, couldn't get in, but we've actually got some photos here, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they wouldn't let us in there, but we've actually got some photos of what it used to look like, haven't we?
I think they are doing that deliberately.
Yeah. So they wouldn't let us in to film there, but we have got photos of what it used to look like. Can you talk us through them? Funnily, every time we start filming and start getting close to the photos, a siren goes off. It feels like they're doing it deliberately.
They must be. I mean, they're just sitting there, aren't they, doing it?
Eventually the siren stopped so we could continue.
It looks like any other modern office block.
All these vertical columns and these girders, they all look like they were built, you know, in modern times. You wouldn't believe that Charles Dickens was starting to write his first works when this building was being constructed.
Can you just tell me a bit about this photo?
Yes, well, this photograph was taken by me about 10 years or so ago, and even then you can see how distressed the building was.
So they're sounding the siren again, so you're talking about how distressed...
At this point I spotted the car where the noise was coming from.
Hi, I'm from the BBC. Can I just ask why every time we start our interview you start sounding your siren? Do you want to tell us? We're in a public brideway here. This isn't a restricted area. You've been told to do this? You've been instructed to do this? Who have you been instructed to do this by?
And the police arrive. They'd been told there was someone with a camera acting suspiciously.
I let the ports know that we were going to be here filming, yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on this day and on this time. When you say they called it in, so they called you essentially?
I can't tell you who's called us. We've had a call, and we've came, and from the CCTV, we've known that there's cameras coming down. So we just came to see everything's all in order and, and have a nice walk along.
Well, enjoy your walk. I did make them aware.
We asked Peel Ports for a statement. They said they were not aware that our filming was disrupted.
Our security team would not have been able to differentiate you from any other potential security risk, and any measures that were taken would be part of our standard security procedures. The boat store is located in an operational port. Any suspicious activity is taken very seriously. We are, however, aware of the historical significance of the building and are working with Swale Borough Council to develop a long-term heritage strategy.
So that's just 3 examples of history under threat in the southeast. Madeira Terrace in Brighton, the Lees Pavilion in Folkestone, and the boat store in Sheerness. Many people would be outraged if these buildings were allowed to decay, but there are others who wouldn't notice. Who knows whether these constructions will survive for future generations?